Hello, everybody. What is up? Here we are. Another episode of the Galaxy of Geeks. Welcome to our live version of the podcast. I was waiting for the applause. Waiting for the applause thing to come in. Just because you've done it the last couple. You've done it the last couple episodes, so I was trying to time it out a little bit.
I'm sorry. Again, just a crazy day with trying to fit. It's all good. Trying to fit a bunch of spice that the Guavian Death Squad had on some moon. See, I'm even messing the damn terminology up.
Yep, it's all right. It's okay. It's all right. Everybody here, everybody forgives you.
Trying to fit 200 pounds of spice into a 5-pound bag. How about that?
There you go. That's good. That's a great analogy. All right. So welcome, everybody, to the Galaxy Geeks Live. And I want to thank you all for watching with us right now live. I want to say thank you to everybody who will be watching a replay of this afterwards. And also a big hi-de-o to everybody who's going to listen to the audio version of this as well. We come to you live, Victor and I, every single Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can watch us live right here on Facebook and also YouTube. So you can just go over to Galaxy of Geeks group on Facebook to watch us live, or find us on YouTube at Galaxy of Geeks Podcast.
Thursday, not Tuesday. Thursday.
Did I say Tuesday? All right, Thursday. Sorry, I got my T days screwed up. Thursdays at 6.
Isn't that when you do your other podcast? Tuesdays.
That is when I do my other podcast. Yeah, I get Tuesday. See, we're you and I are like we're all over the place today.
Yeah.
But so here we are. We have a lot to talk about, a lot to unpack. If you've been following along with us every week, we have been talking a lot about WandaVision, and we finally came to a close last Friday. It actually feels weird not waking up tomorrow and watching WandaVision, but that's all going to be over soon because we're going to be getting Falcon and the Falcon and Bucky show, as I want to call it. Yeah, Winter Soldier. That's going to start up next week, right? Next Friday. So we'll be back on. Right? Is it next Friday? Huh?
Oh, it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So last week, it's the 9th. Yeah, next week. Duh.
Yeah. So it'll be next Friday. So we'll begin talking about that. But we are going to unpack that final episode of WandaVision. So I have this up on here right now because I'm letting everybody know that if you haven't watched it yet, we are going to spoil the hell out of this last episode. We're going to be breaking it down. We're going to be talking about it. If you have any questions as we go along, or you want to join in the chat, please do it. Please throw it in there. Please throw your comments or questions in there as we go along. Happy to incorporate them in as we begin to unpack this action-packed finale of WandaVision.
Yes. And I had a sound effect ready for this.
For the spoiler or just for the finale in general?
Man, I'm seeing that I either I didn't download it or I placed it somewhere else. Yeah. All right. Never mind. The closest thing to it, I guess. Spoiler alert.
Sounded like an old car. It's a spoiler alert. All right. So WandaVision, a finale talk. Here we go. Last episode. It was something that now you texted me right away because I woke up and I got your text because I hadn't watched it yet, and you were like, you said I was very underwhelmed or something like that. You kind of got me scared. You got me a little nervous because your initial reaction was very, very lukewarm.
Yeah. I think I needed to. I think the biggest problem that everyone had that felt that they were underwhelmed was the whole a thing with the cameos. I think we all set ourselves up for, and you could blame Paul Bettany for this as well, because he was saying that he was going to have someone who he'd been wanting to act with for so long, which we actually said last week was going to be, or 2 weeks ago was going to be him.
Yeah, because and he came out like that the day of, while we were like, it was the day of or the day before that it was him. He revealed that.
Yeah, last week we said that he mentioned that it was going to be him. So I guess he realized what he had done because, oh my God, it's going to be Patrick Stewart. It's going to be, it's
got out of control.
Yeah, it got really out of control. You had half of the Marvel universe showing up. So then I think that was the biggest thing. I mean, because week after week we were saying, and you even said it. We had a reverse Luke Skywalker moment. You said Doctor Strange has to show up.
I said 1,000% Doctor Strange is showing up in this episode.
And I was
convinced.
And we got we did not get Doctor Strange.
No.
But I think I think in hindsight, there were some really good things that did come out of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Vision versus Vision thing was really neat, was really unique.
I like that.
Because that obviously sets up a lot for the future, because I think most people who are halfway fans of the MCU probably watch the end credit scenes and realize how things end up, and maybe the person that's going to snap Wanda out of everything is going to be Vision.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's going to it has to lead to him appearing at some point down the road, Agnes, with what happened to her, again, that leaves us in a spot where down the road, does Doctor Strange, the big D word again, does Doctor Strange come to get Agnes and say, hey, we need you to help us contain Wanda?
Right. I mean, they definitely set it up for her to come back. I mean, for sure.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's the fact that, they're going to she's going to play the role, the nosy neighbor until I guess Wanda needs her. Or, Doctor Strange finds her, or Vision finds her because they need her help, or Wanda does go find her because she does need her help to interpret a lot of the stuff that she was laying on her in the episode. Like, you don't know what you did. And obviously you see her reading the book at the very end. That was the big thing where she had her Doctor Strange moment. So even though he wasn't in it, they definitely did a nice little homage to Doctor Strange there with her astral plane self, like reading the book, and then her actual body, like, doing.
And Agnes does say that the Scarlet Witch is much more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yes, they did drop that line in there for sure. Yeah. They definitely dropped that. Yeah, I agree. They were really setting up the multiverse.
Yes, absolutely. Which, is one of my questions to you. If Spider-Man is going to be multi-layered and everything as they're rumoring, does that mean that we see Wanda in Spider-Man? Maybe she doesn't have to play a big role, but maybe it's one of these things where, with her doing everything that she's doing, with, her hearing her kids and everything, does that mean she's torn open, the multiverse? Or, she's, what was the term where she exists in every...
She's a nexus being.
She's a nexus being. So, again, that's an easy way where she's kind of fumbling through what she thinks she knows what she's doing, but she carelessly, opens up all these different portals to different dimensions, and all of a sudden, like we talked about last week, all of a sudden we see the Fantastic Four and the X-Men spill out all of a sudden,
Yeah, they just pop right out. I mean, because they were saying too, and I've seen some things on some other when they break down the frames, and so that was one shot of the book open, and it looks to be a map of the multiverse in the one page. Or at least that's the speculation, which would mean that if she's got a map of the multiverse and she's going to start doing this and jumping around from universe to universe looking for her kids, which sounds like that's probably what's going to happen if that's they're calling from whatever other multiverse, or she's already searching for them through all the which is why she's doing what she's doing in the astral plane. I think that if that ties in, if Spider-Man's gonna have a multiverse component to it, because then that's gonna then go into Doctor Strange, I think she definitely shows up somewhere. Probably not in the full movie, but probably near the end, or a quick scene in the beginning, or of course in true Marvel fashion, it's the extra scene at the end of credit scene.
Well, here's two things that I just thought of. See, this is why I love doing this show with you. Last week there were a bunch of things that I thought of while we were going back and forth, and now there's two things I just thought of. One, in the Spider-Man,
Baron Mordo's still rolling around out there too.
Right. Well, do we see Bruce Campbell and his multiple people appear in Spider-Man, or is that left over for Doctor Strange?
Oh man, well, I'm gonna go with Doctor Strange just because Sam Raimi is directing. I think they're gonna hold on to the Bruce Campbell stuff until Doctor Strange.
Right. Okay. So here's the other thing. Spider-Man: Far From Home ended with J. Jonah Jameson being on the screen at the Garden.
Yeah.
We previously had not seen J. Jonah Jameson. Imagine if No Way Home starts out with Peter Parker saying, "Who is that guy? I don't even know him."
Could be. It very well could be.
Right there, we start up with the whole multiverse there, because he's someone who's coming in from the other, from the other part of the Spider-Verse in this case.
From the Stonyverse.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that if they're gonna go down this multiverse route, which it seems to be, they're definitely setting this up, which is this is what everything's leading to, it seems like. And then obviously and the name of Doctor Strange is called Multiverse of Madness, so I mean, we're definitely dealing with it. I don't think it's a question.
We're at point A.
But when are we going to get into it in Doctor Strange, like the real hardcore multiverse stuff, or are we going to really start getting into it in Spider-Man, and then it's going to be out of control?
Here's the thing. We technically already started in Endgame when they went into the quantum realm.
Yes, you're right. They did, because they did start with that, and they did talk about that.
Right. Well, and actually, if we want to be really precise and technical, it actually started in the Ant-Man and the Wasp when he was trapped in the back of the van. So that happened. Technically, he was stuck in the quantum universe, which was only 30 seconds for him. But he came back. It was 5 years later, and the blip had happened, or the snap, however you want to call it.
Yeah. Whatever.
So we've already kind of traversed there. It's just as you're saying. This is something that we have to contemplate, because like Infinity War and Endgame, if the rumor, which I'm hoping is true, is that we're going towards Secret Wars.
Well, I think we're definitely going towards Secret Wars.
If we're getting there, that's definitely going to tie up all the multiverse stuff, because the original planet with the original Secret Wars was bits and pieces of different dimensions, different planets, different this, different that. The Beyonder put everything together. So that could be, we started the multiverse with Ant-Man theoretically, and then does it continue to go until we get to Secret Wars? Is Secret Wars the end game?
It might be.
So I mean, for all the people that didn't want to hang with, and I'm still seeing people. I bailed after 2 episodes. It just wasn't good. It's like, you gotta watch the whole thing.
You gotta watch the whole thing. I mean, and if it's just not your thing, like, totally understand. Like, it just may not be your thing. But I definitely was a show that got. I mean, I really enjoyed every episode. I think that the episode 8 going through the Bob Cratchit version of or not Bob Cratchit, but the Ebenezer Scrooge, A Christmas Carol version of WandaVision. Right. But you know, if you're gonna say if there was any episode that was sort of like, and I don't mean like, I just feel like, because it feels like everyone was like gripping, like you're like totally on the edge of your seat, and that one was not really like, I wasn't really on the edge of my seat with that one, but still a good episode. I feel like the series was really good. It was very well done. Really enjoyed it. It felt like a movie, you know, and just in 8 parts, nine parts. So, you know, so, I liked it.
Yeah, episode 8 was supposed to be the rumored CSI episode. And
yes, I was going to bring that up because you have that written down in our notes, and you have that. Yeah, they were very close to having a CSI episode.
Right. So the whole idea was that, say, for example, Darcy was going to be like the lead investigator, and she was going to be bringing up like all the different bits and pieces of things that Agnes brought up to try and, you know, elicit the same kind of effect that Agnes ended up doing. And they decided to go, they said that they had brought up like other things like All in the Family and other sitcoms that they didn't end up going with. And when the CSI, which was the closest out of everything else, was brought up, they decided to not go that way because they wanted to keep everything within the genre of comedy. Mm-hmm. So there was that. Now, thinking about that, that may have interested me more than maybe how they approached episode 8. I don't know, but that definitely makes me think, right. Would it, in smaller doses, would it have been more like plausible as opposed to, each piece being like 10 minutes of a, 40-minute episode? I don't know.
I do want to say too, because we're talking about it, and I just want to come back on it, and then I think I just want to keep moving on with the show. Talking about other points of the show that I think are really good. It's just the cameos thing. Once again, I just want to address that because one of the things that made the show a lot of fun to watch for me, and I'm pretty sure for you as well, was the banter of talking about and guessing, like, oh, who can they bring in? And it was fun to make these theories and these predictions, much like how we were doing with Mandalorian and all these shows, and it gets really fun to talk about the what if scenarios, right? And that's cool. But I think this is why for some people they're very disappointed, because as far as I'm concerned, and I know, Paul Bettany played it up a bit and he was having fun with how everybody else was having fun. But I feel like it was more of a fan thing, a fan created excitement than Marvel really teasing out like, I don't think they ever teased out Xavier was going to be in it, or, we were all leading. We knew that this was a lead into Doctor Strange because I did say that, but even all the Fantastic Four stuff and like this was all like fan generated, like excitement and buzz. Nothing was ever, said by Marvel in that way. So I think the disappointment is more on the fans, just creating this hype, fan made hype, which is cool, which made it fun to watch. But like, I think the disappointment is really on inward. It's not on Marvel. I don't blame Marvel for that stuff. It's just like, oh, okay, it didn't go the way I wanted it to go in my head. So,
yeah, and I think that looking back at, remember with Game of Thrones how we were getting spoilers and they were dead on. So it was kind of like, okay, let's see how this is going to play out.
Right.
It wasn't keeping me from watching it. It was just, okay, how much of this is real? How much isn't?
Yeah.
How are they going to make it show up on the screen? Whereas with this, I was watching videos and I was watching plenty of videos every week to see if there was some like plausible thing. First of all, things going forward and things going backwards where so-and-so on Reddit was been on the money with this show and with that show. So and then I'd watch the video and I think I mentioned it to you last week. They were completely wrong. They were like, oh. So to Disney's credit, think about that. There wasn't one thing that I saw that they got right. There wasn't anything at all. And that's why I think maybe the last 2 episodes had less of maybe they weren't as impactful as the other episodes because you didn't have that aspect of like, where are they going with this? You know, where you had like the characters within the other shows and whatnot, and you were, you know, on the one hand, you were like, wow, this is so cool. But at the same time, it was like, okay, but how does this fit into the grand scheme of things? Because they're giving us breadcrumbs here. You know, what road are they going to lead us down? So
right, exactly, and that was a lot of fun of it. So I just wanted to sort of close the book on that. I feel like that the disappointment is really just because it was in people's heads one way and it didn't go that way, and so therefore it was disappointment. But I can't blame Marvel and Disney for that. And if I'm wrong, please show me a quote where it came out, and I'll say, okay, great, they stoked the fire and you know, and they didn't pay off. But as far as I could tell, there was nothing that they officially put out that was like stoking that flame in that way. But but you have a lot of other great notes that I do want to talk about that I think that you have great. So let's talk about this. So what's going to happen to Spectral Vision? Where is he going to go? What is going to happen? I know we talked a little bit about it at this top, but you know, just to break that down a little bit. So we had that great moment between Vision and Spectral Vision, that great dialogue of the ship and like what makes it real. And I thought that I loved that.
Yeah.
And then Vision does his thing where he basically taps in and makes Spectral Vision remember everything.
He unblocks everything. Yeah.
Right. He unblocks everything and he takes off and just says, I am Vision, and splits, and we don't see him again.
Mm-hmm.
So is he on, like, where is he gonna go? Like, is he just gonna go deal with this because now he's got all this information, he's gonna process it? Is he gonna have that same emotion now, like that emotional attachment to Wanda, or is it just he just has these memories but doesn't have that, like, that, I don't know, I guess you could say the soul, quote unquote, the soul that Vision had. So it is interesting.
Yeah, again, as I mentioned last week, is it the soul stone that she was into?
No, I mean, it makes a mind. Was it soul stone or mind stone?
The mind stone, yeah.
He had the mind stone. Yeah, I mean, and it could be. I mean, and because she basically has part of that in her.
Right. Here's the like I said at the top of the show, the only thing plausible, or not plausible, I mean, they could go a lot of different ways with this, but I think what would make most sense is that he appears down the road, like trying to snap Wanda out of whatever she's done, you know, because I think the rumor right now is that she's going to be the big bad in Doctor Strange. And I don't necessarily think she's going to be the big bad. I think it may be more a case of her like wielding her power without knowing what she's doing. And you may have like like a Sith Jedi type thing where you have Doctor Strange on the one hand and you have Baron Mordo on the other hand, each one of them trying to use her.
Right. That's a good idea
for their bidding, and I think Vision is probably going to be one of those people, and maybe Agnes, as we said, with her saying, hey, I feel your pain. I understand your pain now. You locked me away in Westview, and now I know what I need to do to help you. Let me help you. Let me help get your kids back.
Right, because it's one thing, I think, to have that book, which is dark energy. I mean, she's literally using dark energy for this power, which, there's no way. It's like the one true ring, right? Like, you're gonna want to use it for good, but it's just not going to go that way because it just isn't. Because that's not the power. The power of the ring was built with evil and all these things that they talk about. So even though you'd want to try to use it for good, it's not gonna manifest that way. And I think that's pretty much gonna be the same thing. Like, she's gonna want to use these powers to do good things because she's a good person, but it's not gonna go that way because it's the power is inherently evil. It's dark. It's dark energy, dark power. And so no matter however you're gonna use it, it's gonna turn into dark. It's gonna be bad. Right. And I think she's gonna lose complete control over everything. And this is what's gonna happen, which is gonna make her sort of that big bad. But she's gonna think she's doing it for right reasons,
for all the right reasons,
not of coming out of her. Like, she didn't realize. I think we saw a little bit of this. Like, even Agnes calling her out in the town during their fight. Like, Wanda was saying Agnes was controlled. She's like, no, I'm just waking them up. Like, this is you. Like, heroes don't do this kind of thing. Like, I wasn't doing this. Like, you were the one sort of imprisoning these people and like, being like mind controlling them. Like, that was not Agnes. And right. I think that's a little preview of what we're gonna what she's gonna become. Like, she thinks she didn't think she was hurting those people. She thought she was doing something right, but it wasn't.
Mm-hmm. It's like the Les Paul behind you. I'm sure that the original intention was for you to play heavenly gospel music, but it got into Chris's hands and he started playing the tritone and 3-chord punk and stuff like that. It was just evil, just plain evil.
It just plain evil.
You just don't get it, do you?
you just don't.
So
it's good stuff.
I agree with you. It showed when she was like, no, I'm not doing this, and all of a sudden she was choking all of them. They all, Dottie said, we feel your pain, we understand your pain, we haven't been able to sleep, my daughter hasn't been able to eat, so on and so forth. So
so I think that's going to be a big thing, and where it's going to go, and while she may not be like the over, like, I think they'll deal with that and they'll conquer it, but because her actions are then going to create like the real villain of because what she's done is let this in, like, and that's why I think with Agnes saying like, you have no idea what you've done. I think what she's done is created a way now for like the real evil to come in and start, making a muck, making a ruckus in the MCU.
Absolutely. Yeah. I guess my next point was, where do we see Wanda next? Which I think we've kind of like.
Yeah, I think we're conquered that. I think we're just. I think what we just talked about is where we're going to see her evolve. I don't know what her participation would be in Spider-Man, but I guess that's going to be. It's going to have to do something with the multiverse.
And it could be what you're saying. We could get to that movie, and everything is just a big mess. And at the end credit scene, it's her like navigating and showing how she's like kind of like controlling things and bringing things together. That it could just be that.
Yeah.
So, Monica Rambeau. I think obviously she's going to go see Nick Fury. Nick Fury is supposed to appear next in Secret Invasion.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm assuming Secret Invasion, and then she's going to go on to Captain Marvel 2 would make the most sense.
It makes the best sense for those characters, because that's where it's where we last saw. We got the Nick Fury thing at the end of Spider-Man where he's in space, so we know he's in space, and I think that's how that'll tie in with that, and it just makes sense that Monica Rambeau is going to like then be in Captain Marvel 2, and maybe that's what we'll find out too, like why she's seems to be pretty upset with Captain Marvel, and from that offhanded comment in I think episode 3 or 2 or 3.
Right.
Well, it was later because she had come out already from the
saying that she wasn't like her friend.
Right. It's something like that. So I'm sure we'll get the answer to what the reason behind that is. But yeah, she's absolutely gonna go see Nick Fury. I mean, I don't know who else it would be, because we know Talos is on Earth.
Right. Yeah, and obviously by having the, and I keep messing it up. I kept saying the Kree, but the Kree were the enemies of the Skrull. The Skrulls are the ones that are on Earth, not the Kree.
Yes. Yeah. The Skrull are on Earth, and they're the ones that have the visit her. Yeah.
Yeah. She came to the one lady that came to visit her in the theater was a Skrull. So
right. So and I love that. I love bringing that in.
Yeah. Next, Pietro being Ralph Boner. I know a lot of people were saying, "Oh, this is just such a letdown. It's this, it's that."
A big setup for a dick joke.
Yeah, but
or a tribute to Louis DeBone from
Family Ties.
Family Ties. Growing Pains. Growing Pains.
There you go.
Because he was his friend.
Boner. Yeah, the Family Ties off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't do anything without it being calculated. That can't just be some like throwaway. Agnes kept referencing Ralph, who we now know who the Ralph was that she was referring to. That's one thing. Two, there has to be a reason for the Fox version of Quicksilver to show up. So it has to tie in somehow. It can't just be a throwaway moment, because even Wanda said it. I knew, something to the extent of I knew it was him, but it wasn't really him, which kind of ties into the whole interdimensional play.
Right, exactly. I think that if anything, it could be that he is, and he does have this power, and maybe when here's the thing. Here's the thing. Now, this is going to be out there, but is it possible that when Wanda retreated to Hex, that it activated mutant genes in some of the people, much like it did with Monica Rambeau? Because Monica Rambeau did not have that power until she went through the Hex twice. And it reorganized her structure.
Okay. And if we go the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. route, they couldn't use the word mutant, but they had Terrigen transformations, I think it was called, which is how they became Inhumans. So that was, instead of using the mutant term, they were using the Inhuman term, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. So it would be a similar thing, whereas there they would come in contact with a Terrigen crystal. Here, the Hex, she was creating them without realizing it.
Right. She could have maybe activated the mutant gene.
And everyone in Westview, imagine that.
Yeah, if they had, and so maybe, he is Quicksilver, but the gene wasn't activated yet. And by doing that, it activated. I know I'm going out on a limb here, but I'm just saying it's another like what if scenario. Just because, like, why would Monica Rambeau be the only one that this would happen to?
Right.
By going in and out. And I know she went in twice. So the first time definitely did something to her, and the second time sort of like really solidified it.
Yeah.
Actually, she went through 3 times now that I think about it.
I was going to say.
So she went through 3 times.
Shit, I wish I had a James Brown soundbite queued up. Give it to me 3 times. Dun, dun, dun.
As we keep doing the show, and we'll keep thinking about sound bites, we'll have to make a catalog of sound bites of things that we know we could use as we go along.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, there has to be more to it, but think about it. If the Hex causes that, all those agents that came through, Darcy, everyone that everyone that was in the town,
right? And maybe not everybody gets affected because not everybody has the mutant gene.
Has a gene, right?
But the people that are that have it and it wasn't activated is now activated.
So imagine the rumor that Dottie ends up being Emma Frost,
right? For example,
simple deal. She was activated, and then maybe how they can play this off too, if they're not going to go the multiverse route, is that maybe they want to shift the timelines to how it all played out in the movies. To say, hey, actually, this happens after WandaVision. So the Hex is what started this. The mutants actually came, right after. So what you're seeing in First Class was actually, I don't know. Yeah, that would kind of be shoehorning it there.
That'd be shoehorning it. But I mean, because it depends if they're even going to take that. I mean, they're probably not going to take that timeline and continuity at all. This is just going to be all new. So I don't know. It's just a random rumor. I mean, random theory. I'm just thinking about it. Like, does the hex have an effect on everybody that when it retreated and they had to go through it? And some people maybe went through it more than once because of being already in it and then having the guns. So maybe they get it 2 times. Maybe other people had to go through it 3 times for whatever. So I don't know. Yeah. It's just an interesting thing. I think they're going to come back to it.
Yeah, makes sense.
So anyway, I know that was a bit on it, but I just wanted to do that. And then your other notes are: will the children come to life?
I think they have to.
I think they have to, especially if they want to set up like Young Avengers. Right. There's no way, and I've heard that the rumors and stuff that they were already having the other 2 like filming, I think in Paris and something like that. So there's the two kid actors have been seen on other sets that have nothing to do with what we saw in WandaVision.
Okay, but again, maybe that's something where, let's say, Agnes is able to retrieve them and Vision comes back with them, and that's the catalyst to getting Wanda to stop doing what she's doing.
Maybe, and because now they can be real, as opposed to so yeah. So I think they will. I think that's going to happen.
Yeah, and the end credit scene. I mean, I think we pretty much you touched upon it.
Which I think is I think it was a cool way of showing that she's learned that ability now, which we saw Doctor Strange do. That she's able to use her astral projection of herself to do the reading and do that while she's kind of processing everything that's happening.
Yeah, she's chilling on the porch. Now,
I did hear this.
Okay.
Do you think the location she's at is Sokovia? Or where Sokovia was because of the crater, and it's a lake, and so is she in where Sokovia used to be?
Okay, so that would make sense. I know originally because they had pictures of her flipped around, not from the front, but people were saying, "Oh, she's at Tony Stark's cottage."
Yeah.
So Sokovia would make sense, though.
I just think it would make sense for her character, and I don't know, it's just something about that landscape and that setting, other than feeling like The Shining. It was. I think it would make sense that it could be Sokovia, or at least like right in there, just because it's like the water and the big giant potential crater, and she's she's kind of back in her homeland, and that's where she's sort of retreating and getting powerful and learning and dealing with everything and so on and so forth. So,
yeah, makes sense.
Makes sense. All right. So that was our official WandaVision breakdown of the finale, and looking forward. It was, once again, I think we're both pretty much in line with this. I mean, we both really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. You liked it. It's been really fun talking about it, and looking forward to moving on to our next series.
Yeah,
which will be the Bucky and Falcon show, Falcon and Bucky show. Falcon and Winter Soldier.
There you go.
Yeah, which apparently in the timeline is supposed to be happening at the same time as this, by the way.
Oh, okay.
From what I've heard is that it's going to be happening in parallel.
Let's see how accurate they are.
Yeah.
Are you ready for some quick hits?
Let's do it.
Oh, no, I hit the wrong one.
Oh, you hit the wrong one. Oh, we'll try it again.
I'm ready.
Wait, I don't think you could hear that.
I'm ready.
I heard it. That's
kids. Okay, so here we go. Ryan Coogler says that Black Panther 2 without Chadwick Boseman is the hardest thing he's had to do professionally.
Oh, I can totally imagine. It's that. I really can't imagine. I just, the whole thing has got to be so soul crushing to everybody who worked on that first movie, and just I can't. I really can't imagine. I mean, it is such a gigantic hole to fill, and it must be really tough, especially knowing that they were preparing for that, and then to have happen, really is just awful. So I definitely could. I feel I can sympathize. It's got to be tough.
Right. Okay. She-Hulk and Moon Knight start filming in the next few weeks. We mentioned that like 2 weeks ago. Now Marvel has confirmed it once again.
Yeah.
Both are supposed to be out before the end of the year, which is, I mean, it's kind of quick, isn't it? You know, they're filming it in March for it to be out. I think
quick.
She-Hulk, I had read that was coming out in like December. I mean, I could see, sure, December, maybe next year for another one, but are they going to start to overlap series? You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess they're feeling pretty hot right now, and they want to keep people subscribed to the app, which is another big thing. They're they want to keep people from jumping off the app and being like, okay, WandaVision's over, cancel subscription. But look what the WandaVision's over, 1 week break, whatever, 2 week break, and then the next series is going to start. So if they really now want to keep up with that cycle of like MCU, Star Wars, or MCU, so it keeps people on the app so they're not, they're not canceling their subscriptions. I could see the strategy because you just don't want that long wait of like, okay. And listen, there's other things on the app, but like, for fans that aren't really partaking in the other Disney stuff and they're more interested in the Marvel and Star Wars and all that kind of stuff, they want to keep people engaged as much as they can. I think they just want to cover all their bases with fandom, like the stuff for the kids, all the classic stuff, and then of course dealing with the big fandoms.
Right. I wonder how long it takes for them to start to realize that people aren't jumping off and they start slowly turning up the cost of the subscription.
Well, they already turned it up after the big announcement. I mean, it's supposed to be going up like $1 or $2. So they made hey, we got all this awesome stuff coming on. Oh, by the way, we're upping the subscriptions by a couple $. I mean, it's like they totally released that news like the next day. Like,
yeah.
And if you're a shareholder, you're a shareholder,
this. And by the way, little asterisks. All right, I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but anyway. Next one. What do you think that Marvel will do when it comes to the X-Men? Will they retell any stories? Will they retell any tales? Or will they start from scratch with these characters?
Oh, I'll tell you this. I do not want to see Phoenix ever tackled again. Just stop. Stop making anything to do with Phoenix. At least don't make that story because it just can never be done correctly. I don't mind bringing Phoenix in because Phoenix is not like this one and done story. But it just don't do that because it just seems like no one's ever going to nail it the way we want to nail it.
Okay.
And I can't see Phoenix destroyed again for then a third time.
Okay.
Like, you got to move on from the Phoenix saga.
Here's the thing.
Can't even call it a saga what they did the last few times.
Right. How do you have Jean Grey and Scott Summers' daughter who ends up inheriting the Phoenix powers?
Mm-hmm.
How does she come to be without retelling that story again?
I don't know. I don't even think we should even deal with the Phoenix or anything like that for a while. Like, I just
because
let's get these characters in. There's so many stories to tell. Like we all love Phoenix, but like it's it just isn't the I see Phoenix Forces forever. Yep, Power of the Phoenix. I agree. I'm not disagreeing, but come on, like we've seen it destroyed twice now, and like I know we're under a new regime, so that makes me feel good. But do we have to jump right into Phoenix stuff? Like, and not saying that they said they're going to do it, but can we do some other things and then?
How about if they get Dave Filoni to do an animated series where they fix all the plot holes from all the X-Men movies, so that then you could bring it into the MCU?
But are they just? I just think they're just going to erase all that stuff like it never happened.
Well, unless they do something, unless they do something where again they're bringing them in from another dimension, and once they realize that they can do that, maybe they can cherry pick different people from different dimensions to build the X-Men team. I don't know. I mean, I doubt that'll happen, but just throwing that out there. What do you want to have them if they were to bring anything? What do you want outside of Old Man Logan for them to bring in?
Well, Old Man Logan is such a it's so far down the line. Well, let's see. Let's see what look what they did with Quicksilver though. Bombed. It's true. It's true. But I think they had to do that with the weird contractual stuff, and it's like, you know, I mean, I would love to see them fix that, which we might get them to fix that now with why we even saw what Ralph Boner.
Well, they couldn't think of it this way. The contract that they had with Fox, they couldn't refer to Wanda having chaos magic. That was part of the deal, and she couldn't use all of her powers in the event that they were going to cast her themselves. So there could be something there where they're going to rectify all that. We'll see.
I mean, there's so many. All I'm going to say is, I know we have other stuff to talk about. I feel like there's so many great X-Men arc stories. Like,
yes,
can we just not jump into Phoenix right away? Is all I'm saying.
And let me add this: I don't want them to do a Sentinel thing right away either, because
I think we're building towards that though.
With the Vision thing,
with the Vision stuff, because I feel like that's going to be building. But that's just I feel like that's what he was working on.
Okay, that Sword knows about the mutants.
I feel like that, yeah, or just they just want it, just to have Sentinels because of people like Wanda running around, and like it's kind of a catch-all instead of just being or maybe yes they do know about the mutant gene, so it's.
Yeah,
I mean, it was that gap. So, I mean, it was 5 years, and this is why he started doing this. So he panicked, and he's like, we have to get, started going back to all that, we have to get something created.
And maybe through all of this, through the Skrull technology, they time traveled, through the quantum realm, they already time traveled. So imagine if they were able to go forward and find out about, a mutant apocalypse, and they've all of a sudden decided to go back and prepare for it. So that, that could make sense.
Right.
Okay. The next group outside of one of these three topics, I don't know if they were meant to be comical or if they were meant to be serious. So, DC news. Dun. Justice League 2 and 3 are back on tap at Warner Brothers.
They're really going to go all in. I think this is the event of the year, as the email told you.
Yes. They haven't got the first one out yet, but they're going to plan for 2 and 3.
Okay. All I can say is okay.
Well,
what else are they going to do?
We did get 5 Sharknadoes, so
we did get 5 Sharknadoes. So okay, what it is what it is. Okay. I agree.
Okay. Next, Warner Brothers is reportedly developing an African American Batman movie.
Okay.
This is due to the fact that they've already announced that supposedly they're working on a Superman movie with an African American actor in place. And I guess it also has to do with the fact that Batgirl is now portrayed by an African American. So, and also, I mean, let's be honest. You already had various incarnations of all these superheroes going on in the DC universe anyway.
You did. So, you absolutely did. So, I mean, listen, it's comic books. I mean, yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And this one kind of, this one comes on the radar. And this one actually kind of, had I been drinking something, I probably would have spit what I was drinking out. Zack Snyder is the front runner to direct Wonder Woman 3.
This is, but is this confirmed? This is a rumor.
No, this is a rumor.
Right, this is rumor. So, Listen, I really have nothing against Zack Snyder at all. Like, I mean, I know ages ago we kind of really slammed him, and but like, I don't buy his. I just my biggest thing is I never bought his whole vision of the DC universe. I think he started off good, but just not everything needs to be super dark and gritty, which we saw like the first Wonder Woman, awesome, nailed it. Second Wonder Woman, I don't think it has to do with. It just has to do with script and all that. Is more or less where I felt like in editing that film didn't have its the reason why it wasn't very good. Not certainly because it didn't look a certain way. I don't know. I mean, I cannot see Zack Snyder's dark, bleak vision of DC Universe fitting in with Wonder Woman. I can't see it. I find it hard. He's got a very specific vision that he likes to do, and the Zack Snyder look and feel of things. Mm-hmm. I think it'd be such a hard right turn to. But okay. I just don't feel like it's the right thing to do. And on top of it, like, why are you going back to the well, man? Like, there's so many amazing directors out there. Like, give someone else a shot. Like, Patty Jenkins set up the template. Like, bring someone else in. Like, someone else who's got great vision and just really gets it. Like, he had his chance. Right. Not saying, and he's coming back in and all that. And, the Snyder cut and all this stuff. But, like, I don't know. If it's true, I disagree with the decision, but we're talking about a rumor. We're talking about a rumor.
The Snyder cut, which is going to end up being the Ken Burns. It's going to be like a week long. It was never meant to be released. Yeah. To his credit, it was never meant to be released, and they just kind of went on the internet bandwagon. Was like, all right, fine. If it's a way to make money, get people to buy and sell HBO Max subscriptions, then fine. Right. Here's the other thing. Does it come out down the road? Does Patty Jenkins come out similar to Sam Raimi and say, you know what? Wonder Woman 2 was a turd because Warner Brothers didn't let me do what I wanted to do.
I don't know about that. I mean, if she's gonna say it, it's not gonna happen for a while. I can't see her and she has a very good relationship, and I don't know.
She is doing a Star Wars movie, so could you imagine during those press junkets where people ask, "Hey, what went wrong with Wonder Woman 2?" and she comes out and says, "Hey, Wonder Woman."
She may not think anything's wrong with Wonder Woman 2.
That could be another thing too.
She may say, "I got no problem with that movie. I mean, I can't help what the fans think. I don't think it's a bad okay."
Right. Okay. Next, we are going to close things up with some. Wait for it. Some.
Our favorite.
Wait. Star Wars rumors. All right. So earlier this week, I saw the rumor and I posted it.
This is the greatest rumor that I want to be true in the worst way.
I could see that you paused for several seconds, if not several minutes, after reading that.
I did.
Chris was sitting there. Finally, it's becoming reality. So, Jade rumor.
Yeah.
I started to read it and instantly. Well, I posted it and people instantly started to say, well, how's this going to happen given how the entire series ended up? Mary Jane forever. There you go. But outside of that, rumors of who's supposedly going to play her.
Right.
So the first rumor that I read was Karen Gillan, or Gillan, or however you pronounce it, who is obviously in the rebooted Jumanji movies, and she's also Nebula in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. I think she'd be a fine choice. I really do.
Okay.
I could see it. I could see it. And the thing is, because it's like she is athletic. She would fit the mold. I mean, you're gonna have someone do all the stunt choreography anyway. Being so. You just need her to pull off the acting part. I could see her doing it though.
Okay. Second person that she's on a hot streak now, Elizabeth Olsen.
Elizabeth Olsen, I would also be interested in seeing because I think that she could bring. I think she could bring the drama of that character.
Okay.
Yeah, and the weight that character has. I could see her, in getting. And if they're going to go a dark route with it, I could see her getting to that spot needed for that character, depending on how they're going to use her. But I could see her. I could see that. I just think that there's going to be a big problem. Well, I shouldn't say that, so it doesn't matter because I was going to say, I think I can see a big problem with her being a big star and being in this. But but you've got Thanos and
the Cable,
and it wasn't a problem at all for me.
Yeah,
Brolin.
Yeah, Josh Brolin.
Yeah. Josh Brolin.
Last name that came up. Probably going to stir up the most amount of crap out of anyone. Brie Larson.
No. I don't think I could see Brie Larson being... First of all, she's a huge superhero right now in the Marvel Universe.
Okay.
I can't see it. And I just don't think I see her fitting for the role. And the thing is, all I can think about her is as Captain Marvel, so it's really hard for me to think about her. I feel like it's an easier leap for me to think of Wanda or Elizabeth Olsen as Mara Jade than Brie Larson as Mara Jade.
Okay.
I'm gonna work on my list though, because I feel like I could come up with a really good list.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna come up with it for next week, our next show. I'm gonna come up with a list of 3 actors that I feel like could play Mara Jade. If I had my druthers.
Okay. And the final Star Wars rumor of the night. Thrawn to be played by Robert Downey Jr.
It'd be interesting. Robert Downey Jr. is such a great actor. He really is. I think he could bring the pretentiousness, the confidence, the swagger that Thrawn has, the cold calculating, because he's just a strategist, it just all makes sense to him. Because the way they portrayed him in Rebels was like awesome. It was spot on. I could see him doing that. I just don't know if I could see him in the Thrawn makeup and the look. I feel like it's a leap for me.
Okay.
But he's such a good actor. Like, he really is. Like, people forget, I think, sometimes about the stuff that he did, like him being Chaplin and in all the other great films that he was in where he played these really challenging characters, like even Less Than Zero, like, really, really great roles where he was really pushed to acting. And I think people forget about that because now I feel like everybody just sees him as Tony Stark. Yeah,
and I think with him, also, a lot of those earlier roles were kind of pushed aside because he really crashed and burned, And
he had his Hollywood moment, where he did the Hollywood freak out, and the drugs and all that.
Yeah, and I mean, there's the shit waking up in your neighbor's house, There's he's not the only one, There's so many other people that have gone through similar things where, they were able to right the ship after some pretty horrible things had happened.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I kept thinking of Jamie Foxx's imitation of Robert Downey Jr. hearing him say, right, mm-hmm, right. Well, I'll try it or something like that. I just kept thinking of that today after hearing the whole Thrawn thing. I'm like, could he pull it off? Could he do it?
That's another list I'm going to think about too. Like, who else could play Thrawn? Who else I'd see in that role? I'm going to have to think about that.
Yeah, and ultimately, how much crossover are we going to end up having between the MCU and the SWU?
Yeah, really. I don't know.
They're going to all be staying in house.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to switch actors, and it's going to be like the Disney players, basically.
Yeah, there you go.
The old studio system where, hey, you sign a contract with Warner Brothers. Well, now you're in nothing but Warner Brothers movies. It's just
life.
Yeah,
Right.
that's it. You know, it's gonna be the same thing with Disney. Like, you have a Disney contract. Well, guess what? We're gonna use you for anything Disney that we choose because we own you now. Like, you have a contract with the studio. Like, it's not like a per picture thing. That could happen. Go back to the old studio system like that.
Could. Hey, it's happened in music, so who knows?
Yeah, it does. It's definitely happened in music.
So awesome. That was the last point out of my.
That was it, huh?
Yes.
Wow, we covered a lot of ground tonight.
We covered a lot of ground in a little bit more than an hour. So
yeah, that was very good. All right. Well, I guess there's nothing else left to do but wrap it up for tonight. So, hey, thanks everybody for watching the Galaxy of Geeks live here, and thanks for everybody who will be watching the replay. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you for everybody who's going to watch the replay, and thanks for everybody who is going to be listening to this as the audio version on the Galaxy Geeks podcast. As always, if you want to listen to the audio version of the podcast and go back to listen to other versions of the podcast, you can always catch this episode that'll be released and past episodes by subscribing basically wherever you get podcasts, Galaxy Geeks podcast. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button so that way you get notified every time we release a new video on the channel. And join us over at the Galaxy of Geeks Facebook group. It's a private group where we're all chatting all the time. If you hear Victor and I talk about different things, when we say, oh, we saw this in the group and heard about it in the group, it's because that we have about 200 people in that group. It's all free, all posting, all using, and it's a great community of people just, having fun, letting their geek fly, and it's all good stuff. Yep. So with that, did I leave anything out?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything. So
all right.
With that, we thank you, and we say, see ya.